Hello, everyone. RJ here. Hope you guys are having a wonderful night. So, today I decided that I would talk about it's really a reminder for you guys to listen to your inner knowing. And this reminder is really coming from a near and dear place, if you will, because it's something I'm going through right now. So, we just rolled over into 2023 not too long ago, right? And as a business owner, and even as a person in general, that's normally the time that most people are, especially in Western society, are trying to do new things, start something different, create, and they have all these plans in place to start something new, or they're launching a new offer, whatever the case may be. But it's about newness and it's about doing, right? And that's fairly common. I wasn't feeling it this year, like at all. And part of me just knew, like, even though logically it would probably make sense to like start, things in January to have an offer that's something new out there, that wasn't what I was feeling at all. And when I sat with it, it was just this understanding kept coming up for me that January is not going to be an actionable period for me. January is still going to be part of it's going to be about a lot of releasing for me, right? And it wasn't necessarily like, oh, we're setting this intention to release everything and we're going to be actively working to release everything. So initially didn't quite understand, but I knew beyond anything that it was this period of releasing for me. It wasn't a period of trying to launch something, of trying to show up in really big and powerful ways for other people. It was about giving myself that time and that space to still kind of be a little bit in like cave mode and hermit mode, and just giving myself that, like, that dark void space to be in and to be nurtured from and to release whatever was going to be going on, right? And so I didn't understand it then, but now I understand, having been sick since pretty much, actually, since slightly before the new year, right? So I had this feeling and understanding that like I'd be releasing pretty much December, January, and some of February. So I didn't plan things the way I normally would have for the beginning of the calendar year. And I am so grateful for that because, around the end of December, I had a cyst that flared. And then now I'm sure you can hear I have like a cold or flu. I'm not sure which one, but um, my body has been going through a lot, right? And all of it, right? And so the sickness isn't so much like, it's not this bad, terrible thing, but it is a release of a lot of like toxins, and like a lot of stuff is coming up, right? So, and I mean that both physically and metaphorically. Um, but just being able to listen to that inner voice, right? Like when you have that understanding, that knowing that happens, and it's not a logical one, right? Like if I had looked at things from a logical perspective, I would have like booked myself solid, scheduled a ton of stuff, and especially like a ton of stuff that probably would have been really detrimental if I had to back out of or cancel or whatever, right? But that's not what I did because I knew this was going to be a period of release for me. And I didn't know what that looked like at the time, but I like undoubtedly, no question, this was a period of release for me. So I acted accordingly, right? And it just served, like, I'm so grateful that I listened to that, because I've been sick, but it's not been terrible. I've had a lot of space, like, on my calendar to rest and everything, and to really pay attention to my body and like what it's needing to be supported through this time right now. Yes, I did start some new things, for instance, this podcast, but that wasn't something that was planned. It was really something that just was inspired and felt really good to lean into, so I'm leaning into it. And I wanted that to serve as a reminder to you to listen to those moments when, like, you just know something, right? And you can't explain why you know it or how you know it, and you still may not understand it, right? Like, you may not be able to logic it, and you're just like, what? But it keeps coming up that, like, this is what it is. And to learn to listen to that, because sometimes we get into trouble, actually, not sometimes, a lot of times, we get into trouble if we're only going to rely on like logic-based knowing. Okay. There are so many different ways for us to know. We have so many different senses, and they're attuned to so many different things and levels, and they're picking up on stuff way faster than we can ever like consciously process. So when we have these knowings, right? We need to learn to honor those. And for me, I've gotten a lot better over the years, mainly because I get my ass handed to me whenever I don't follow that knowing. So I've kind of learned to know what that feels like for me and in my body, and like how that comes through. Um, and to be able to acknowledge that and listen. I still stumble with it, but not nearly as much as I used to. And it's just that sometimes that egoic need for logic will get us into trouble, right? So I need you to understand that there are different types of knowing. And just because you don't have a logical path back to the conclusion that you have arrived at does not mean it's not valid, right? Sometimes what it means is it's just that you have processed something at an unconscious level that hasn't yet come to your conscious awareness yet, right? Um, Kind of like, there are a bunch of other things that we do this with, kind of how you know it's going to rain, not because like the weatherman told you it was going to rain, but you walked outside and maybe you smelled the air, or the atmosphere felt different. Whatever it is for you, people are sensitive in different ways, so it kind of varies across the board. But there are certain things that you don't have to be told or informed of or shown any like logical, here's the data, here's the support for this stuff, that you just know, right? And over time, you begin to see it come to pass, and so you can trust it more. But still, because it's this little tiny whisper, oftentimes it can be very easy to miss. So I just want to encourage you to listen to the whispers that you're getting. um, Listen to those slight nudges and pulls and things. And like I said, it shows up a bit differently for everybody else. So sometimes for some of you, it may be just kind of a gut thing. For some of you, it may be like you just keep hearing something over and over. For some of you, it may just be a thought, and it's just there. Um, for some of you, it may be more of like some sort of body sensation that's not necessarily your gut, right? But learn to hear and perceive these nudges and these guidance that you're receiving, because that's what it is, it's guidance. And if you can learn to have a certain amount of faith and trust in it and follow it, you're going to be able to set yourself up for a better outcome than if you don't, like if you only rely on the logic parts, right? Because there's a lot that logic misses, and it's not, and actually I shouldn't say that it misses, because it's not that it misses, but it takes logic a certain amount of time. And intuition and other ways of knowing are far more instantaneous than logic, right? Because logic is something that is conscious. So first, the information has to be processed in general, then it has to actually like come into conscious awareness and be looked at that way, right? Um, all of this accumulates time. So logic doesn't move quite as fast as intuition does. And because there's such this heavy reliance, especially in Western culture, on like logic and this need to like prove and demonstrate and show support, so that other people can like reach the same conclusion is so detrimental to intuition in general. Um, but just because you can't prove it, or maybe you can't even articulate it clearly, doesn't mean it's wrong, and it doesn't mean it's something that you should dismiss. So I really want to encourage you to pay more attention to when those things come up and see what happens if you can learn to follow them, right? Because I promise you, the more you learn to tune into yourself and into your body and your spirit and what you're being shown and told, and like the information and guidance you're being given, you're going to move a lot more smoothly. Like things are going to unfold in much better versions than they would have otherwise. So I just wanted to come in with that reminder. I hope you guys are having a wonderful night, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care.